Hey guys, welcome back to Status Detail. So today we're going to be straight and to the point. We're going to talk about these guys. So these are like usually piano black, like little pillars, and some people put PPF on them, some people don't. Even if you paint correct a car, for some reason these little pillars get demolished. Like they get so swirled out and it's so bad. And it's one of those interesting areas where PPF makes sense on it because PPF will self-heal. It's more scratch resistant than normal paint, especially more scratch resistant than that piano black. And it makes a lot of sense because it's a small piece, it won't cost a lot of money. It's one of those things where people go, oh, you're anti-PPF. And I wouldn't say that I'm anti-PPF. I've just been anti the way PPF is sold and the way the industry talks about it and that stuff. So we're going to talk more about that in more videos. I've always said PPF benefits certain people. So most people who are doing full bodies don't need it, stuff like that. That's what I'm really anti, because it's a tremendous amount of money to spend. That's another video. The whole point of this video, and if you saw the thumbnail and you saw the title, do you need to paint correct before you put paint protection film on? Because the consensus in the mental state that we are in when we're thinking about this is logically, if we put paint protection film on top of paint that is not paint corrected, we will see swirl marks sealed in with paint protection film on top of it. So we need to make sure the paint is perfect and that it's paint corrected, and then we put paint, PPF on top of it, and now we have perfect paint with PPF, and those two work together. So my question, and I'm going to do this for the first time with you guys, we're both learning this at the same rate. If I put paint protection film on a panel like this, and I'll drop some footage in so you can see it, that looks like this right now under a light. If I put PPF over that, will the glue, the adhesive, will that fill in all the imperfections and basically make it look like it's been paint corrected or not? If it works, does that mean we don't need to paint correct cars? We just throw some film on it and it's good to go? So if for example, if you're doing a full front, do you just put film on the front and then paint correct the back half, or should you still paint correct the front? Now, I already know the answer to that, and we're going to talk about that at the end of the video, so you guys stick around to the end of the video for my explanation and how I already know the answer to that question. What I don't know the answer to is, will it even work, right? Am I going to be able to see swirl marks with film on top of it, or is the glue going to fill it in and make it kind of not a big deal? Like, it wouldn't have mattered if I corrected it or not even corrected it. So let's do that right now. I'm going to do it as live as possible so you guys can see it. So I'm going to put this piece of Stek Dyno Shield PPF on here. This is a scrap piece. It is by no means perfect. I don't know if you can see this in the lights. It literally has imperfections in it and stuff. So before someone tries to jump down my throat and go, oh, that's not perfectly clear, like you said, this is a scrap piece that we're going to put on here. If it turns out okay, I might leave it on here just as a test thing for my car, but this is strictly to see as a test if this will fill in the imperfections that are on this panel because there's adhesive and glue on the back of this. That's the only reason we're doing this. I'm going to throw this on here. I'm going to try and just walk you through the process of while I'm doing it. So there's literally, typically I have a cap sheet on this, which on the front actually protects the front of this, which is a really rare thing. Other companies don't do that. A company that starts with an X doesn't even offer that, but this company does, which is one of the reasons we really like Stek. Shout out to Stek and our Stek rep, which is Daniel. You are fantastic. I really appreciate you, buddy. You've been very helpful to me. So we're going to peel this off. This has baby shampoo in it with some water. I'm going to squeegee this one more time just to make sure I don't have any dust down here. We'll do both just to be sure, but I'm only going to do one side for now. Before someone also jumps down my throat and tries to give me a hard time and go, oh, you're doing that wrong, or this or that. No shit. I'm still new to doing this. I'm just showing you guys this. It's going to take me many months to dial this in so I can really be as good as I want to be. That's why we still use an installer who's got like 15 years experience. So take it easy if I do something that isn't perfectly normal for PPF. Just take it down a notch. This is a test for science, not for perfection. It's my own car, which I use as like a test mule all the time. So this is nothing new. So we lay this guy out. We're going to try and push some of these little bubbles out. And you can see now, I can move this around pretty easily. That's because of that slip solution, which was the baby soap. And basically, these are really easy to do. So this is basically on. So that's basically it. All I use is this pink little squeegee, J&J baby soap. It's like no additives, no colors, no anything like that. And then it's in distilled water. That's what I sprayed on there. Then I use the squeegee to put that on. These are really small pieces, so they're really, really easy. You squeegee all the soap out, and now you have this nice finished product, which looks pretty good. I actually don't see any like really bad distortion in it, which I did see before I pulled it off the backing, because like I said, this is a scrap piece that was on the side. We'll get a better look at it, but if it turns out okay, I'll leave it on the car and we'll test it. Because for example, like I shouldn't do this, but I close my car a lot from the pillar area, which is what a lot of people do. And then you get all those fingerprints in your hands and you scratch it. And that's one of the reasons these get so hammered. So it's a great test of that. And then you can do that for a month or two, and I'll try and self-heal it with a heat gun, and we'll play around with it. So hopefully it looks okay. If it looks like a disaster, I'm not even gonna leave it out. I'm just gonna pull it off when I'm done filming this video. So we'll see how it goes. I'll try and show this more than once, but I scored this with a razor, and then this actually just peels right off. I thought you guys might like to see that. All right, so I'm actually going to try and tuck this side behind because I think I can, because I have the material. I can always cut this back if I want to, so I'd rather try the first time. All right, that's basically it, guys. We're going to have to dry this a little bit and then put some alcohol on it to finish it up, but I'll show you the after results. This might shock a lot of people, but it's kind of only a little bit shocking to me because I've kind of seen a little bit of this stuff before. But to really see it in first person the way I did it step by step, it still is pretty shocking. So as you can see, the PPF going over all that stuff, that glue, the way it attaches, it covers up like 99% of all the defects on that panel. So even though I didn't paint correct that little piece of piano black, the film goes over it and you can't see anything, and that's pretty insane and it's pretty wild. So there are a couple reasons why this is kind of a fun test, like I said in the beginning, because I said in the beginning it didn't matter what the outcome was, I was going to tell you what to do no matter what. And what you need to do no matter what is paint correct your car before you put paint protection film on it. Now if you have really bad marks, like really big obvious sanding marks, I don't have the ability to test that on this particular car. If a car in the future comes in, I'll smack some film on it just to give it a test, but I'm pretty confident that I can tell you if you have a really bad sanding mark, it's going to show through your film and it's going to look weird and it's not going to look right. So that's going to definitely need to get fixed. But in general, you know, the best result with anything, whether it be ceramic coatings or PPF, is all in the prep. So if you do a proper prep on the car, it's always going to look better afterwards. So if I fully paint correct your car, there's a large amount of gloss that I can pull out of your car when I paint correct it and then put film on it. Same thing with ceramic coatings. Now film is glossy by nature, so if you put film over something that isn't very glossy, it will make it glossy. That's why they make matte PPF, because if you put gloss PPF on matte cars, it doesn't work. So obviously there is some gloss built into PPF, like this stuff that I'm using right now. That doesn't mean that I can't get it more glossy, right? That's the point. We do everything to the maximum. So if we can get something better, we're gonna do it. Now, more important than all of that, paint protection film loves to show imperfections in the paint. Now, not swirl mark imperfections though. I mean like little divots in the paint, little things that are raised above the paint. And when I paint correct your car, I make your paint super, super smooth, because your paint from the factory isn't necessarily super smooth. So when you get one of those little dimples or little pimples that are in your film popping up, if you paint correct, you remove that stuff. If you don't paint correct, you get that pimple. So yeah, sure, there might not be swirl marks in it because the glue fills it in, but the film will sit on top of that lump and it makes that little pimple that you end up seeing through the film. Same thing if you have a little tiny micro like dimple in the paint, you get that like cavity in the film. So paint correcting levels your paint, so everything, so you have peaks and valleys in your paint. So when you paint correct it, it's just flat. And that's so, so important. Now in general, when you pull that paint protection film off in the future, if you want to not continue to use paint protection film, you'll have corrected paint underneath. I know this from talking to our installers, and now I'm learning this myself. When you put paint protection film on a car that's properly been prepped and paint corrected, the process of putting that film on that car is much smoother of a process. It's better for the installer, and if the installer can do something better, that typically means that the process itself goes smoother, which means you get a cleaner, better paint protection film installation. So this simply shows you that if you do have a car that's perfect for the most part, or we do paint correct your car, but the paint correction process maybe only goes to 90% instead of 100%, and we leave 1 or 2 of those micro scratches in the paint, the film will fill that in for us. So that's a great thing about paint protection film. And the reason that's great is, for example, if I polish a brand new car that's got a lot of imperfections in it, I can polish that to 100% and remove a little extra paint and put the film on and get a good result. Or I can paint correct that car, take out 90% of the defects, leave 10% in, especially on the front if I'm only doing a full front, and then put the paint protection film on it. If this is a car that a family might keep for 30 or 40 years, like a 993 Turbo, for example, preserving all that original paint on there gives me more durability in my paint. So when I'm pulling film off in the future, I have less likely to pull paint off because it maybe is thin, for example. So I can do that because I know, even though there's imperfections in that paint before the film, I know the film will fill it in. So there's some games you can play here to get the best result for your car. Now again, even on a brand new car, lots of paint, right? But just because I can remove paint doesn't always mean that I should remove it. But I should remove some if I can level it, make it really good, and make the install better. And in general, why do we want to take a risk with, you know, this scratch maybe is deep enough and this scratch isn't, so I'm going to only do this much, and then we put the film on and there's a problem and there's scratches in it. So you still need to paint correct the car beforehand. But this does show you, and I hope this video is helpful to a lot of people, this video does show you that paint protection film has some interesting attributes to it, especially because there's so much glue on the back of that sucker. So when you put it down, that glue really fills in those peaks and valleys, because that was pretty hammered, right? That was pretty bad for it to fill in everything. Alright guys, that's going to wrap up this video. Like, subscribe, comment, all that awesome stuff. I have videos coming all the time. The Road America Secret Bar video should be coming out very, very soon. I hope that is my next video, but it is kind of a daunting, large process of a video to, it's a large undertaking to edit a video like that one. These are much faster. So stay tuned for that. That'll be super fun, and I'll see you guys in the next video.